Taylor Park is a summer recreation campground. My great-great-grandfather moved onto it in 1868. And we've been here, our family's been here ever since. The night of the Beachy Creek fire, the late afternoon, we weren't aware that there was a fire approaching us.
We're watching the smoke from the fires. And then 1:30 I got a call and said, go get Mom. The fire has jumped out and it's coming down the canyon.
We got called about 45 minutes before the fire hit here that informed us that we better get out or we were going to be crispy critters. So we loaded up and we left here in a rush.
I seen a whole bunch of cars going by, so I thought, all right, it's pretty serious. So I jumped in the pickup, went down, got Mom, and then started figuring out what was going on.
When we came back, it reminded me of a napalm strike in Vietnam.
Then I started getting calls for people that got to go back in and they had hazard trees around their house they would have liked to have gotten removed because they were burning inside yet and they didn't want them to fall over on the house.
As things cooled off and everybody got access back into the area, the first guy that contacted me was Silbernagel.
We go through every couple of years and salvage trees around all the campsites, and that's why another reason he had me in there.
The 7th is when the fire took place. On the 28th of September, my wife passed away. When she went through and saw the damage that had been occurred because of that fire, it broke her heart.
The fire probably did about a 95% damage to the park area.
Aaron gave me some time, a little bit of time to come to grips with that.
He didn't know what he was going to do from that point, seeing that damage that had been done. So he needed me to see marketability on logs and how we were going to access it and deal with it.
He showed up and started helping me make a plan as to where we were, how we were going to tackle this.
The timber was salvageable, and we could make revenue off of that. That's what they depended on their revenue to be, and that's what their revenue had been for years.
I can't tell you how many people have come in crying and to hug me, to tell me how much they love the place, and that they're so grateful that I'm rebuilding it. And if I don't rebuild it, if I don't make it a viable piece of timber property where my public can enjoy it, we're going to lose it. And that's not acceptable.
We knew that there was a stream and that the main heat had come down the stream and done more damage down there. So, we had to contact ODF to make sure how that was going to happen.
It was burned over pretty hard. I've never seen fire cook right down to the edge of a stream, and it was tough to work with.
He had to fall around different trees. He had to fall around structures in here, which means it takes him extra time. He went out of pocket to take care of a lot of the things that need to be taken care of here, and waited. I don't think I wrote him a check for 3 months.
Lule Timber, their cutters came down and helped cut. Carlson Cutting, he brought a machine in, and we tried the machine in the area where it was more critical of the water spigots. Shelters that campers had wanted to try to maintain if possible.
I believe there's 500 campsites there in the park. FEMA contractors are coming in and plotting those out for the cleanup, the burn debris removal, and Aaron had to be tactful as to where he could place his slash piles because he couldn't just leave that anywhere.
So a hot saw was able to grab and hold the tree and set it into location. So we kind of mixed the two together to try to do as little damage as possible.
I think Aaron took a lot of care to where he didn't just leave the bare minimum. He was out there looking to see, what trees he could retain.
He removed over 2 million board feet of timber from here, leaving anything that was viable.
He's one of those guys, if he sees a tree that is good for wildlife, he's going to leave it. He's not going to put it on the ground. And I think he did a really good job.
Aaron's arranged for timber to be delivered in the fall or the spring, another 14,000 trees to be planted here.
The Watershed Council was getting trees and things donated to them, and those were the first trees that we actually started to get for Taylor Park and adjoining landowners in that area. So we were able to get a lot of different varieties of plants, native plants to put back in.
He was working with the Watershed Council and Marion County Soil and Water Conservation to secure seedlings and native plants. When he used one of the tree planters from the Watershed Council on a few of these properties, and when the planters were out there planting trees, I heard that Aaron was out there following them around, making sure they were, planting the cedar in the right spots and the wet spots and doing that work. And that's just something we don't always see, is that level of care.
He took away all of the stress in the removal of the timber and the reforestation.
He has shown innovations with brush treatment, just the mechanical removal of brush or placement of slash in order to reduce the amount of chemicals needed. He's always thinking of other and better ways he can do some things. He's identified some areas with Japanese knotweed and is working with the Watershed Council now on getting that stuff out of there. So he kind of thinks outside the box.
I know for a fact he walked away from jobs that he could have made literally a fortune on. There's guys out there that were just going from place to place to place, getting people to give them their timber if they just take it away. Aaron is very conscientious.
I've never heard a single complaint from a single landowner about his work. Many of the landowners will only have him work on their property.
Probably the most honest man that I know.
I just did what I could, like many others.